Radha Damodar Prabhu. Radha Damodar Prabhu does not require any introduction. He is well known to all our congregation, but for our purification, I am saying few words. Radha Damodar Prabhu is an exemplary devotee. He is a nice mridanga player and a kirtani, and he does many services at temple. Like all services he involved, and especially he takes care of telecasting every temple event, and also he tirelessly coordinating many other events. With that, we will welcome Radha Damodar Prabhu with the loudly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Radha Damodar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think Vinama could you make me the call? Okay, I need to tell Mataji.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Just give me a second.
Good. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Radha Damodar Prabhu. Prabhu, your voice is not like it's breaking, Prabhu. It's not continuous.
Okay. Okay. I might have an internet issue here. Just is it better, Prabhu?
Yeah, keep talking, Prabhu.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Prabhuji, for welcoming. So, we're going to talk today. We are going to talk about from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 8, verse 6. So, before that, we'll to get the right mood, we'll sing Radha Damodar. Jaya Radha Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Bhajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajadana Ranjana Yamuna Dira Vanachari Dira यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरा वनचारि यमुनतीरा वनचारि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण Hare Krishna devotees. We'll start with the prayers. ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य आञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुमिदमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहजन रघुनाथं विदन्तं सजीवं साद्वैवं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखां साविधां च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पदे गोपेश गोपिका कांदा राधा कांदा नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमदे भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण। विष्णुपदाय हरे कृष्ण। So Hare Krishna devotees, thank you for joining the Bhagavad Gita session today. So today we are going to start from the class Bhagavad Gita verse 8.6, chapter 8, verse number 6. So I will recite the verse and some of you can recite back so that we are in the mood of listening to this verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tajenti Ante Kalevaram Tam Tam Evatiti Kaunteya Sada Tat Bhava Bhavitaha. Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tajanti Ante Kalevaram tam tam evate kaunteya sada tat bhava bhavitaha yam yam vapi smaran bhavam त्यजते अन्ते कलेवरम tam tam evati kaunteya sada tat bhava bhavitaha. Hare Krishna devotees, anyone would like to recite this verse, please go ahead, unmute and please recite.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I'm going to do it.
Yes.
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam yajityante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
I'm doing it. I'm
doing it at the show.
Anyone else wants to sing?
I just wanted to do Prabhu.
Yes,
Is it?
ma'am.
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam yajati ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramati.
I can go, bro.
Yes, Prabhuji, go ahead.
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajati ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else would like to sing?
I can try, Prabhu.
Okay, go ahead, Mas.
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajyati ante kalevaram tam tam evati kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita.
Hare Bol. Anyone else would like one more last person?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I will try. Yam yam vapis sam smaram bhavam त्यजत्यन्ते कलेवरम tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So the synonyms, yam yam, whatever, vapi, at all, smaran, remembering, bhavam, nature, tyajati, giving up, gives up, ante, at the end, kalevaram, this body, tam tam, similar, eva, certainly, eti, gets, kaunteya, O son of Kunti, sada, is, tad, that, bhava, the state of being, bhavitaha, remembering. So translation and purport by His Divine Grace will A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation: whatever state of being one remembers he quits the body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. So once again, translation: whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Purport by like to read the purport? Please read the purport if you would like to. Okay, I'll read the purport. A critical moment of death is a person who is at the end of his life quits his body, thinking the transcendental. Not true. The person who is Krishna attains the same transcendental state. This is a point we should not care. How of mind Maharaj Bharat, although a great personality, thought of a deer at the end of his life. So in his next life, he was transferred into the body of a deer.
Well, can everyone hear Prabhu, or is just me? I don't know.
Looks like internet is connection is not good. Okay, I will read translation.
Okay.
Purport. Meanwhile, Radha Damodar Prabhu fix his internet problem. The process of chanting one's nature at the critical moment of death is here explained. How can one die in the proper state of mind? Maharaja Bharata thought of a deer at the time of death and so was transformed to that form of life. However, as a deer, Maharaja Bharata could remember his past activities. Suppose the cumulative effect of the thoughts and actions of one's life influences one's thoughts at the moment of death. Therefore, the actions of this life determine one's future state of being. If one is transcendently absorbed in Krishna's service, then his next body will be transcendental, spiritual, not physical. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna is the best process for successfully changing one's state of being to transcendental life.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Satyarupa Prabhuji. Can you all hear me now?
Yeah, it's very good, Prabhu, now.
Okay, so I connected to a hotspot now. So thank you. All right. Thank you for reading the purport. So let's move on. So we are in the 8th chapter, and the title of the 8th chapter is Attaining the Supreme Lord. So attaining the Supreme means, so the verses from 7th chapter onwards, we are talking about the Bhakti Yoga here. The yoga, the Bhakti process goes in detail, 8 till chapter 12. So this is based on how we can attain the Supreme Lord. That is the whole objective of this chapter. So before we get into the main verse, we'll see the background behind that here. So the first verse, Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna, "Oh my Lord, Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is the material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me." So basically he's asking, who is God? What is Brahman, his Supreme Lord? And who am I? These are the questions Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna. Then further questions, oh Lord, who is the Lord of sacrifice, and how does he live in this body? Okay, and how can these people engage in devotional services, and can what are things they can do at the time of death? So these are the questions asked by Arjuna, because it's from the previous chapter, whatever is mentioned, the questions are based on that. Now, the Supreme Personality, Krishna says now, this indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman. So, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. And action pertaining to the development of this material bodies of the living entities is called karma, or fruitive activities. So he's giving definitions of each terminology here. Who is God, Brahman, and who is self, who is you yourself, and what is karma. So in simple terminology, Krishna is explaining here. And best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Abhibhuta, Adibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods like those sun, moon, and is called Adi Daiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented by the super soul in the heart of every embodied being, is called Adi Jana. Adi Yajna, sorry, the Lord of Sacrifice. So now the sixth verse, before the sixth verse, the fifth verse says, whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this, there is no doubt. This is a very, very famous verse. So before we get into the next verse, we need to understand this very clearly. So at the end of the life, if we can remember Krishna, we can attain his nature. And of this, there is no doubt. Now, I have a personal attachment for this verse because in my life, my father was dying. I didn't know about these verses. I just had started reading Bhagavad Gita. I had only reached chapter up to 6 and middle of 7. Now, when my father passed away, I went to India, and I had carried the Bhagavad Gita with me. And the first things I'm reading is this chapter of chapter 7 and 8. And that's when I'm seeing this particular verse. And that's when I remembered, oh my God, if at all I knew this verse, the meaning of whole Bhagavad Gita is right here. The whole Bhagavad Gita summary is right here. If at the end of his life, if he quits his body, remembering Krishna alone, they get the liberation. He can be with the Krishna. So it was too late for me, for my father has already passed away. But then I was talked to senior devotees. Oh, now I understood the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. But it's too late. My father already passed away, and I didn't have a chance to pray for him. So that's when they advised me that, okay, you have to start chanting from your heart. That way your father will get better chance of better birth next life, and he'll have less suffering in his journey towards the next body. So that's when I understood Bhagavad Gita. Just remember this particular verse. This is the most important part of the Bhagavad Gita, and this is what is going to we should be keeping in our mind. We need to remember Krishna at the end of our life. So next we'll move on to the next verse. So our verse 8.6, the main idea behind this verse is whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kundi, that state he will attain without fail. Now in the previous verse, it said, if you remember Krishna at the time of death, you will attain my nature, Krishna's nature, meaning we can go back to Godhead. That's guaranteed, right? So in Bhagavad Gita also it says there are other ways also you can go back to Krishna. If you die at a particular time of the year, okay, in a particular when the sun is in a particular position in the Uttarayan, those are areas where things where we cannot control. So there is no guaranteed way that we can attain Krishna if we follow that path. But this path, Krishna is guaranteeing that we will attain his nature. So this is the recommended path we should be doing. So Srila Prabhupada has established this society just to promote everyone to come to this platform, to understand this particular matter, right? Now, this particular verse is going beyond that previous statement. Now, a person at the end of the life, if he quits the body, attains Krishna, right? But it is not true that the same person, a person who thinks of something else other than Krishna, attains the same transcendental state. So, very important one, very critical, because at the time of death, if we think something else, we are going to attain that same nature as what we are thinking about. But we are not going to get the transcendental state. We are going to remain in this material world. We are going to go through the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So if you think something else other than Krishna or even Guru, your initiated Guru, that's because Guru is a representative of Krishna. Guru is going to take you back to the Krishna. So if you think something else, we're going to attain that particular nature, right? That's the most important point. So we got to be very, very careful here. What we should not be thinking, or we should be thinking. Now, one's thoughts during the course of one's life accumulates to influence one's thought at the moment of death. So the life, this life creates the next life. Basically, whatever we do now is what is going to create our next life, right? So right now, at the moment, we are creating our next life. How we are designing our next life is based on our current thought process, current activities, everything we are doing right now. It's based on that. And if one's present life, if one is in the mode of goodness, in the last class, I talked about various modes of material nature, mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. But if we are in mode of goodness and always thinks of Krishna, it is possible for one to remember Krishna at the end of the life. That's the key point of this verse, right? Now we'll go expand this little more by going over the story mentioned here. Is about Bharat Maharaj. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada was referring to Bharat Maharaj. So what we'll do is we'll just go in detail about Bharat Maharaj to some detail so that we understand how this process works, right? So the story of Bharat Maharaj is an ideal example to explain this concept. How Maharaj got attached to a deer and took birth as a deer in the next life. And this is the story we should keep in mind all the time and guard against this kind of particular pitfall, right? So as you all know, the whole of India is known as Bharat, and the name Bharat came from Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj was the ruler of the whole world at one point of time, way back, and that's why the whole this is known as Bharat Varsha. So the Bharatvarsh is because Bharat Maharaj did a great ruling of this kingdom, and in a very spiritual way. And Bharat Maharaj is the son of Rishabdev. Rishabdev is none other than avatar of Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So Bharat Maharaj, when he was ruling, the whole kingdom was flourishing. Everybody was happy. He was able to give all the citizens the right things. He was a Rajarishi, right? He was more like a Rajarishi, and he was a wealthy king because of his righteous actions. The whole kingdom was prosperous, very popular. Bharat Maharaj was very popular. He took care of every citizen. No one was unhappy in his kingdom, right? So Bharat Maharaj would protect everyone, and he ruled for many years. So he was so popular that he was a perfect person, right? Now, as a perfect person, he needs to follow the spiritual path. The spiritual path is, after enjoying the life or suffering the life in accordance with the Vedic principles, one has to retire from our personal life, present life. So that is the perfection life. We have to, once we are old, we need to go fully engage in spiritual activities. In those days, they would go to forest and meditate, and that was the perfection of life in those days. So they had to give up the whole kingdom. Bharat Maharaj was able to give up his kingdom, which was going great, and he handed over to his sons, and he went to the forest. And there he wanted to attain perfection in the practice of God realization, right? So there he was meditating, and he was doing fantastic there, right? And this is how we come out of the birth, death, old age, and disease state. We typically, there are 4 asamas. So as one person starts as a brahmachari, then he becomes a grihastha. Then he comes to the vanaprastha state. Vanaprastha state is where, when you go to the forest and meditate, then you take up sannyas, right? This is the perfection of asamas we have, and Bharat Maharaj followed exactly that. And this is the way we can fulfill our human birth, human duty. The human birth is very rare, very rare. After many birth, we get the human form, right? So every jivas go through various species. There are 4.8 million types of species in this material world, and we may be, depending on our karma, our past life, we may have to go through take many births before getting the human form. And we may be aquatic, we may be birds, we may be beast, we may become some other animal, we might be even become a tree. We pass through all these various stages, and finally, after several births and several millions of years, probably, who knows, we might get the human birth. That's a very rare birth, and we need to take full advantage of this human birth. And that's why we had to utilize this current life to become more Krishna conscious, God conscious, so that we can take get into the utilize the aim of life, right? This life is meant for, human form of life is for self-realization. Adhatu Brahma Jijnasa. That is the Vedic injunction. So we need to inquire, who am I? What is the purpose of my life? So all those things, when we inquire, and then we get into the spiritual path, we get into the self-realization path. That is when we can attain Krishna, or we can come out of this birth, death, old age, disease cycle, right? So Bharat Maharaj was in the stage. He was doing meditation. He gave up the whole kingdom and all his luxury life, everything, and he became a mendicant, and he just was meditating in the forest. Now, Bharat Maharaj was in a very advanced stage due to his dedicated meditation, and he was at the stage of bhava. That is a very, very, very advanced stage before the prema stage. That is a love of Godhead. But still, a major incident happened, right? One day, Bharat Maharaj saw a deer, pregnant deer, running across from the place where he's doing the meditation. And the deer was being chased by a lion, and the roar of the lion scared this pregnant deer, and she was jumping across a stream. While jumping across the stream, she had a miscarriage. She delivered the baby foal, and the mother deer died, but the baby deer lived. Bharat Maharaj saw the whole episode right in front of his eyes. And being a very compassionate soul, as a Vaishnava, great Vaishnava, he was very compassionate. He felt for his heart felt for the baby deer. And he thought, without his help, this baby deer also is going to die. So he wanted to go and help the baby deer. He picked up the baby deer and started nurturing him. Slowly, he got affection, certain affection towards this baby deer. And the baby deer also became affectionate to Maharaj Bharat. Right? So the affection grew. So it grew in such a way that Bharat Maharaj could always want to know, where did the baby deer go? Can he, if I'm not there, who will protect the baby deer? His mother is not here, so I had to take care. He took the responsibility of taking care of this deer. Now, Bharat Maharaj could not, at some point, he could not think of anything else. He's doing his japa, chanting, but his mind is elsewhere. Even though he's chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But his mind is elsewhere. His mind is thinking about this baby deer. And is that deer, will it get attacked by a lion? Things like that. All the time he was thinking about that. So he was basically not doing a proper chanting. So it came to a stage that he cannot live without this deer. If the deer is missing for one day, his mind is bewildered and he cannot think of anything else. He will look out searching for the deer. And like that, the affection grew very much. His chanting became very inattentive. His meditation became very bad. So literally he fell down from the platform of bhava, right? Because he is fully attached to this deer. Now, eventually Bharat Maharaj died. So as you see, when he was dying, he could only think of the deer. If you see in this picture on the right side, at the time of his death, his mind is fully about his deer. Who will take care of that deer? If I'm not there, what will happen to the deer? That's all he's thinking. Because of that, Maharaj Bharat Maharaj took the body of a deer in his next life. He could not go back to Krishna. As per the our verse, which is whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. So in this situation, he attained the state. He had to take the body of a deer, right? So that's a big lesson for us. So what do we learn from here? So so this particular verse is actually the process of changing one's nature at the critical moment of death. That's what is being explained here, right? If we follow the bhakti process, then we are on the right track. That's why Srila Prabhupada has given this process. The ISKCON has laid out a very clear process by which we can go back to Godhead. It may be a slow process, but still, if we have the full faith in the process, we will eventually get there, right? So even if we are not advanced enough, right, the bhakti will carry forward in the next life. Assume that we have only, we just started out the Krishna conscious process and we are attracted by it and we are started just chanting. But at the time of death, we don't know what state we will be in. We may be suffering very badly. We may not be able to think of Krishna. But depending on our consciousness, we may take another birth. Now, it is said elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, if you have a devotee, you are likely to, if you have started chanting and everything, you are likely to be born again as a human being. You can take the birth in a aristocratic family or a Brahmana family, where you will be able to continue where you left off, right? So this Krishna consciousness is like a bank account. So if we did some progress till say 10%, then in the next birth, we will start from where we left. From 10%, we'll continue. Like that, if we perform 50% of sadhana, I mean, we progress 50% towards Krishna consciousness. We will start from 50%. Very quickly we take up. I mean, you might have seen many personalities who have just taken up Krishna consciousness so quickly. That indicates that they have already done in their past life a lot of advancement towards Krishna consciousness. So that's very encouraging news for us. So this process, regardless of whether we achieve success in this lifetime itself, we should take it with full heart, full faith, so that we will make progress, and next life or life after, we will be able to perfect. We need to reach the perfection stage. Now, the case of Bharat Maharaj is a very special case. Bharat Maharaj was not an ordinary person. He gave up the whole kingdom, and that itself is a big sacrifice. Not everybody would do that. We are all attached to our life, right? The luxury life or this material world with our family, friends, relatives. We're all attached. Still, giving up that is not an ordinary decision. So Bharat Maharaj was not an ordinary person. He gave up the whole kingdom, his wealth, everything, and went to the forest. And even while doing his meditation, he reached the stage of bhava. That is very close to the final stage of prema, right? So from such an advanced stage, he fell down. So what does that mean? That means the laws of nature is very stringent. If we violate, it will act. If we violate the laws of material nature or the nature, prescribed nature for us how to follow the spiritualization, self-realization path. If we follow the right path, then we don't have to worry. But the material nature is very stringent, and it is trying to distract us. It's going to test us actually, whether you are firm or you are determined to go back to Godhead. So it's going to give us a lot of challenge. Bharat Maharaj faced one such challenge. And if you think about it, helping that deer was the right thing to do. Okay, Bharat did the right thing, because as a Vaishnava, we are compassionate, and he helped the deer. But when you look deeper, Bharat Maharaj got attached to that. So that attachment is that we had to cut here. So when we have all this attachment will cause us to suffer. Basically, these attachments are the causes of our suffering. We are attached to worldly things, so many worldly things. So at the end of life, we are likely to remember what we are attached to. So one example I would like to take up here is, I've heard about a person who was very, almost in a deathbed, dying stage, and his children asked him, "What would you like to have? Your favorite food is the chicken soup. Shall we prepare chicken soup?" Yes. That person said, "Oh, if you can give me chicken soup, that will be great." So he was very satisfied when they gave the chicken soup, and he was always praising the chicken soup, the taste of it. So guess what? He died. And what was his mind was telling? "Oh, what a fantastic chicken soup it is." So guess what? He's likely to take a body of a chicken, or where he can enjoy the chicken. Maybe he will become a fox. That way he can kill the chicken and eat. So Krishna will provide us what our desire is. Our desire and our attachment is, in this example, was towards a chicken, right? So that's how our life is going to be. So we have to mold our thinking, thoughts in such a way that we think about Krishna during this lifetime, present day lifetime. We have to always think about Krishna. How do we do that? It's not an easy thing to do. It's very easy to say, think of Krishna all the time. That is why Srila Prabhupada has laid down step-by-step process of coming to that stage, right? We have to follow this process, that then we will attain that supreme position. Now, coming back to the story. So we need to, in order to practice that, we need to be in the mode of goodness. And we had to follow the Krishna consciousness process. Because otherwise, we will implicate ourselves with the lower modes. And we have to be mindful. If we are not very careful, we are likely to fall down. So even if all the practice for the practicing devotees, this is very important to remember, that we can fall down if you are not careful. So nothing to worry, but we just need to follow the association of the devotees who are already advanced. So when we see advanced devotees doing activities, we tend to follow their path. That way we will also come to the platform where we can continue to make progress. Right now, so this material world is described as padam padam yat vipadam, which means at every step there is danger. So we have to be very, very careful. The material energy of the Lord, Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti is very powerful. It's going to keep testing us. And we might pass this test, and we will make progress. Again, the test is going to come. What reminds me is, if you all know from Chaitanya Charitamrita's story of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was chanting, and an envious person sent a prostitute to distract Haridas Thakur. But Haridas Thakur was so determined that he continued to chant. He did not fall prey to the the advances by this prostitute. So that's how Maya tests us, right? Yeah, Maya is going to put us into tough situations where we make compromises. Now, there are times when we may have to make compromises because there is no other option. But as soon as that task is done, we need to get back to our regular sadhana process. That is the most important part. Things may happen, our life will be always challenging. But by keeping association of the devotees, we will be able to come back to the regular sadhana practice process. So we need to keep remembering this one, right? So in the interest of time, let me go a little more. So it's another example given is, if we want to be healthy, we have to take care of our body, right? We need to do exercise, get the right food, right amount of rest, sleep, everything. Similarly, our spiritual life also, if we want to be successful, we have to be very careful and practice Krishna consciousness very carefully. And we have to be humble, tolerant, respectful. We need to avoid all kinds of offenses, aparadha, and our focus should be on devotional services as a humble servant, right? These are very critical. The laws of material nature will try to force us to put us into very, very dangerous situations. So we should not be distracted by that. Our attachment toward, when we are doing devotional services, slowly we start developing attachment towards Krishna. That will take us away from distractions. Now, in case of Bharat Maharaj, as we said, he's in advanced stage, and he was in a deer's body, right? While he was in the deer's body, also he remembered his past life. That's the beauty. Since he was in such an advanced stage, when he is in the deer form, he was able to remember who he was in the past life. He was Bharat Maharaj. He fell down from his position. All those things he was able to remember, right? He realized his mistakes. So he was very careful as a deer. He did not associate with other deers. He tried to be aloof from others, and he would try to associate wherever possible with if there are saintly persons, he will be near that, and he will be listening to their Bhagavatam recital or their process. And he would take bath 3 times a day. He would eat some leaves in a austere fashion. So he was doing austerities while he was in the body of a deer as well. So you might have seen some animals following the kirtan parties and other thing. That is an indication that they have some liking for the Krishna conscious activities, or they are attracted somehow. We will see many times that kind of things in our life. So that's an indication that in the past life they might have made some advancement in Krishna consciousness. Now, Bharat Maharaj, after giving up the deer's body, he took up a human birth. Now, so that's the next one, because now he was advanced. Now he became Jada Bharat. He took birth in a very nice family, Brahmin family. So he became Jada Bharat. Now Jada Bharat was very determined. Now he knows everything, the mistakes. He was very determined. So not to get involved in the material life. So he acted as if he's a deaf and dumb person. Okay, so that people will ignore him. Eventually, his father died. His family members started mistreating him. He was a deaf and dumb person, so nobody cared for him. And he wanted that way. Jada Bharat wanted that way, so that he is not attracted to any of the worldly things. Now he was kicked out of his house. He was given dirty food, spoiled food, everything. He didn't mind. He acted as if he's a dumb person or deaf, very ignorant person. Actually, he was a highly self-realized person. His father, when he was alive, tried to teach all the Vedas. He was a very good Brahmin, but he again there also he acted as if he is ignorant. Now there was a king. So when he was kicked out of the house, there was a king who was going for a self-realization path. He was also giving up his kingdom and he was going. He was being carried by palanquin by his servants. All of a sudden, one of the servants became sick, so they needed one more person to carry the palanquin, and Jada Bharat was given the task of carrying the palanquin because he was looking a young and healthy person. But Jada Bharat, when he was carrying the palanquin, he could not walk properly because there were ants on the ground. He didn't want to hurt any ants, so he would jump. So that created problem for the king. The king eventually said very harsh words towards Jada Bharat, and Jada Bharat ignored initially, but eventually Jada Bharat spoke up. Jada Bharat told King Maharaj, the king, that I am not this body, and he started the conversation about self-realization. Then this king was not an ordinary person too. He understood this is a great person. So he came down from the palanquin, bowed down in front of Jada Bharat, learned self-realization, and the meaning of life, everything from Jada Bharat. Right. So we are. So the goal of yoga. Jada Bharat taught him the goal of yoga is for controlling our mind. Right. So we need to control, in order for us to remember Krishna at the end, we need to start controlling our mind and senses. So the mind, if we don't control properly, it implicates us to attachment through this senses and the body. For example, if you buy a new car, we are interested in that car. Right, we slowly get our family members, everyone slowly start getting attached to the new car. But if you think about it, our neighbor also is seeing the same car, but they are not attached to that car. So the concept of mind comes into picture. So that mind feeling is dangerous. That's what is giving attachment. So the goal of yoga is to control our mind and its feelings. When we understand the difference between the body and the soul, then we will be able to control our mind better. So practically, it is not possible for our to focus our mind in this modern world. Our current modern world is, we are all distracted by cell phone, Facebook, this and everything. So many distractions we have. We will not be able to focus very easily. In the same line, Arjuna also has to control his mind. Arjuna was asking these questions because he has to control his mind so that he can focus on destroying his enemy in the midst of this war. So he also needs to understand how to control his mind. So this, the answer to that verse is in the next verse actually. So the next verse, the translation is, therefore Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty without duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So Krishna is actually giving a solution also here. So we have to do our prescribed duty as well, but at the same time, we dedicate that duty for Krishna. It is for Krishna's satisfaction we had to do this duty. then we have a solution. We will be able to focus our mind properly. Our mind will be focused on Krishna hereafter. So that is a solution. Okay. So let me move on to the next slides. There are so the lessons we learned from this Bharat Maharaj story is that, whatever states, the laws of material nature is very stringent, and it will try to test us, our determination to become Krishna conscious, by putting us in various challenges. Okay, that's one of the lessons we learned. So we have to be very careful protecting our determination in bhakti process. Otherwise, we may get alluded to the energy of Maya very easily. And in fact, Srila Prabhupada was once asked by a devotee, Prabhupada, sometimes we are distracted, we are not Krishna conscious. How can we come out of that? Then Srila Prabhupada said, no, you are mostly not Krishna conscious. Sometimes you are Krishna conscious. That is our current state actually. So we need to, we are actually not very Krishna conscious. We need to put a lot of effort, follow the process laid down by Srila Prabhupada, and we need to follow Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Especially in this Kali Yuga, it is very difficult to practice this one. So the best way is to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which will engage us in devotional service. So if you keep chanting every day, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, then we will be in the right track. We will be able to control our mind. And in Bhagavatam, we have a lot more similar examples. When what happens when one quits his body thinking something other than Krishna, right? In the fourth canto about King Puranjana story. In that story, King Puranjana, when he gave up his body, he was remembering his wife. And consequently, in his next life, he became a very beautiful and well-situated woman. He took his next birth as the daughter of King Vidarbha in the very house of the same king. So this is another example, right? So if you think about, you're very attached to your family member. In this example, he was very attached to his wife, and he became a woman in the next life, and that satisfied his desires. And another example, again from Bhagavatam, the fifth canto, King Angirada, he had lusty desires. His lusty desires were not satisfied at all. He was always thinking about Purvachati. So in accordance with the Vedic injunction, the king, and after his death, he was promoted to the same planet, where his wife is. Wife was already in a celestial planet. She was already in the Prithuloka. So this is where the forefathers reside. And King Ankirata was promoted to that planet of forefathers. So these are some of the examples. There are many examples in Bhagavatam. I thought I'll give these few examples. So now it's 1 o'clock. So let me try to conclude the session here. So whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, or son of Kunti, that state he'll attain without fail. That is the thing. There are a lot of details we can go here, but in the interest of time, I didn't have time to prepare a little more. So we can discuss more about how the mind should be controlled, how the senses are acting. Those are the topics I was thinking of talking, but I think we will conclude here. These are the lessons we learned today. So I will move on to the Q&A, question and answer session. So this verse is Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tejati Ante Kalevara Tam Tam Evati kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavidaha. So whatever state of being one remembers when he quits the body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Okay. So Hare Krishna devotees, if anybody has any questions or comments, we can discuss. Hare Krishna Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the very nice class. Prabhuji, I had a question for a very long time on this verse. What happens if somebody leaves the body in a blank state of mind? For example, if you're in like an accident or something, I don't know if you have experienced, like if you feel that something is going to happen, the mind just goes blank. What happens if somebody leaves the body in that state, like during accidents when, the situation is very different?
Thank you, Pushpanjali Mataji. Wonderful question. I mean, that is the same question I had in my mind when I heard this lecture several years back. And this question always comes to everyone's mind. So if I rephrase your question, so what happens to the person who becomes into the coma state? Or, what happens to the person who cannot even hear, or he cannot, even move his tongue, he cannot even chant, his throats are dried up, he cannot move, he's paralyzed. So many things, so many combinations can happen. Now, Krishna answers this question in Bhagavad Gita. I don't remember the exact verse, but the meaning of this verse is that do not worry. If you have been practicing Krishna consciousness, we don't have to worry. If you are a devotee, Krishna will help you. Krishna is not going to give up on you. Krishna will give you the right intelligence at the time of death. Krishna will make us remember at the time of death. So if we are a practicing devotee and we have been practicing it for quite some time, Krishna will make arrangements in such a way that what I came to know from senior devotees is that even at the time of coma, our consciousness is very active. So we are conscious about everything, even though we cannot remember, or we cannot externally express anything, right? We are totally externally, we are dead person, as a brain dead person, but still our consciousness is very much alive, and Krishna will give the right intelligence for a person who has been practicing. So that is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. So that brings out a very important aspect. So death can come anytime, not just death. I mean, accident can come anytime. You can fall paralyzed, you can get into paralyzed stage, anything. So we have to start practicing right away at the right moment. We are in an urgent situation, we are in an emergency situation. We have to start practicing right away, so that our mind is always focused on the spirituality or Krishna consciousness. So it's actually a very very critical thing to do. So Pushpanjali Mataji, I don't know if I answered your question right way. Do you have any questions?
Yes, Prabhuji, you did. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Very
Hare.
good reading. Very good, the subject matter, and your speed and everything was so great. I was able to understand and take deep meaning of all the points which you explained, and it was beautiful. Keep on doing it more often. Thank you very much, and Hare Krishna to you.
Thank you, Harinama Prabhu. Thank you for your blessings, and all the devotees' blessings are needed. Thank you very much. We'll continue the same way. Hare.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a question.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
So So we, as a grahastha, we always wish our kids to be successful or get successful in whatever they are trying to do. So how can we do this in a not too attached way? Any tips? Like, and we get way over involved, maybe like Bharat Maharaj's example of getting too attached to the deers. Say similar situations happens to us, that we go behind on certain things for that to happen for our kids, right? So I mean, sometimes I feel like we are getting in that too attached situation. How to be maintaining or limiting our attachment? Any tips?
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful question, Mataji. That's a very common doubt that comes to everyone's mind. And this is also very well explained. So we do not stop attachment to the, our children or anything. We have a responsibility as a parent. We have certain responsibility. We have to bring up our kids and we have to bring them to a Krishna conscious platform. That's our responsibility, right? So that is a service we have to do. Now there are various solutions. First of all, let me take it back a little bit. We don't get detachment. We have to get attachment to Krishna. So we have to, not only we ourselves have to first get attached to Krishna, we need to engage our family members also into Krishna conscious activities. That way, actual love for our children actually grows tremendously. When we engage ourselves in Krishna conscious activities, and then we engage our children also into Krishna conscious activities, it becomes one of the best thing that can happen. Meaning, we are actually making them more Krishna conscious. Our attachment for Krishna is going to grow here. And this also causes, without making any effort, a natural detachment comes there. We are going to make these children very independent and Krishna conscious person. And leave it to Krishna. Rest all leave to Krishna. It is said that, I don't remember the exact age, up to the age of 5, we need to fully take care of the children. We need to give full love, full attention to the children. From at the age of from 5 to I don't remember the exact age. I think it is up to 10 or 12. You had to start disciplining the children. Then after 12, when they reach the teenage, we had to leave them. We would have trained them during the early age, but from the teenage onwards, they should be able to independently do things on their own. We only guide them. We don't dictate. You do this one. You do this chanting. No, we do the chanting. We becomes the role model for our children, and that's how they practice, and they also take up Krishna consciousness eventually. They have to face the challenge of life. They only when they face the challenge, they will start valuing what we are teaching them. So to a simple answer would be, you have to still be attached to them. At the same time, that attachment is to encourage them to become more Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna Mataji. Did that
Thank
answer?
you. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. That helps.
Very good. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is there any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Prabhu, for the detailed class and explanation. A very nice class.
Thank you, Amrita Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radha Damodar Prabhu. Very nice class. Prabhuji, I had one question. So, you mentioned the pastime where, they wouldn't step on ants, or you were trying to avoid causing any harm to other beings. Prabhuji, how would we do that, like practically, right? I think like there's another story or where they mentioned that anytime you take a breath of air, you're killing so many things. So how do we practically try to imbibe that mentality, Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna. Very nice question, Prasanth Prabhuji. So this is Kali Yuga, Prabhuji. So we have to follow the paths our acharyas have given us, right? So it is very difficult to follow being a, so first of all, Jada Bharat was very advanced stage, right? He was not an ordinary person. So Jada Bharat, again, we are talking about Satya Yuga, or it's not Kali Yuga. So those days things were possible. Try not to kill these ants and other things. Even now we can do that. So what Srila Prabhupada has given us is that be practical, right? So if we are being attacked by a mosquito, you are okay to kill that mosquito, or if you can avoid this ants, avoid. And if you run over it by chance without your knowledge, that's okay. I mean, we had to carry on, but our consciousness is what matters, right? Our consciousness should be okay. If we did something to a poor animal, we pray for them, right? We can
Yes.
sincerely pray for them. That's the best we can do. If we accidentally did something, ideally we should not be killing anybody, but we are not talking non-violence here. If we have to defend, protect this body given to us, so we have to take care of our bodies so that we can do devotional activities, devotional service nicely. So if somebody is attacking us, we have to protect. That is allowed.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you. So it is 1:15. If there's no other questions, I will end this session and the class. Sorry, I'll back to you, Satyarupa Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's a wonderful class. It's so easy to understand and so detailed, and wonderful question and answer session. Now we'll move on to the next part of our Sunday Feast program. Sunday Feast Aarti. Today's Aarti is performed by Lalita Kund Mataji and Kirtan by Purnamasi Mataji, Aarti Kirtan and Narsimha Aarti. Please pin to the temple window and stay watch that Aarti. Hare Krishna.
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
no Pramadhani. Due to COVID, no Pramadhani, not there. Just there. So next, Narasimha. Go ahead, Narasimha.
Radha
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna devotees. Thank you for attending today's program. We have some announcements to make. So, give me a few seconds. I need to unmute. Sorry about that. Hare Krishna devotees, we had 4 birthdays this week, so we want to chant for them. So we had the birthday of Kannan Prabhu, Anika Mataji, Anika Radha, Swarnamanjari Mataji's and Rahul Prabhu's daughter. We have Arundhati Mataji's birthday. We have Anirudh, Lavanya Mataji and Senthil Prabhu's son. So we had 4 birthdays this week. Let's chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 3 times for their benefit. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Also, we would like to request your sincere prayers to Lord Narasimha for the mother of our dear Satyasara Prabhuji, who has been admitted to emergency in India and currently in ICU. Please offer your heartfelt prayers for quick recovery of Prabhuji's mother. So, from this emergency situation. So, let's all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 3 times for Mataji's speedy recovery. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, we will have a special kirtan today evening from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. for Satyasara Prabhu's mother's speedy recovery. So please, we request all of you to attend. It's a regular Sunday feast Zoom only. So please join from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Let's all pray sincerely from our heart for her speedy recovery. Hare Krishna. Also, we need volunteers for the Sunday feast program inside the temple. So, if anyone would like to volunteer, please let me know. I can assign based on the availability of the volunteering. Due to COVID, we have some restrictions. Very limited number of devotees are only allowed inside the temple. So we can, if there are a lot of people signed up, we can divide into multiple groups, and each group can take turns for the services. So please let me know. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Back to you, Satyarupa Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Back from temple.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for that. Thank you for everything. Like, thanks for Lalita Kund Mataji for nice Pujari service, and Purnamasi Mataji, a nice Kirtan. Ananya, thanks for supporting Ananya and Sunil Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your announcements. Okay, next week again we will. Okay, tonight we have a Kirtan. Please, without fail, join at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Hare Krishna, all of you. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Bye bye from temple.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.